Hi art friends, welcome back to Art with Mr. Poulos. Today we will be doing some paper weaving. So weaving really just means the process of going over and under, over and under, over and under in order to create one strong piece of something. Most weavings that you are probably coming in contact with would be your clothes. So your clothes are not really one piece of fabric. It's a whole bunch of strings that get woven together and interconnected until they make a larger piece. Baskets are woven with straw, as well as some chairs, some outdoor chairs and tables. And we do weaving sometimes using yarn, and today we'll be using paper. So for today's project, you need a piece of paper, any color. You need some strips of paper. We've made these before for different projects, but basically just find some construction paper or some newspaper or color some paper and take your ruler, line it up with the edge, draw a line, line it up, draw, line it up, draw until you have stripes. Cut on those stripes, and you just want to make a whole bunch, maybe, I don't know, 15, 10, 12 or 15 of these in many different colors. So you need these, you need this, you need a ruler, and you need scissors. There's no gluing when we do weaving. All of this will hold itself together. So I'm going to swap over to the document camera and show you guys step by step how to set up your paper, teach you a little bit of the terminology, a little bit of the words that we use when we're weaving, and hopefully you will have a finished project in one day. If it takes you more than one day, that's okay. This might be new to some of you, it might not be to some of you, so if you've done it before, feel free to make a couple of them. If this is new to you, take your time, okay? Let's get started. Hey friends, so I've got my paper, and I've got my strips of colored paper. Maybe you're using newspaper or something else, that's totally fine. The first thing I need to do is to set up what's called a warp. W-A-R-P, like a warp pipe in Mario. So the warp is really just kind of like the frame that you're weaving through. So to make a paper warp, what I need to do is to fold my paper in half like a greeting card. Take my time, you want this to be nice and neat. Make that crease. And I'm going to use my ruler on the open end of this, okay? So this is important. It's not on the folded end. It's on the side that opens like a book or like a card. This is where my ruler is going to go. I'm going to cover that open end, and I'm going to use my pencil and just make a mark, okay? This is going to be my stop line for when I'm cutting. So all of my cuts today are going to start back here and cut straight up until I touch that line. You don't want to stop early. You don't want to go past that line. Okay, that's going to really mess you up when you're weaving. So let me grab my scissors and continue. All right, my friends, I've got my scissors, I've got my ruler, I've got my pencil. Just checking here that this line is on the side that opens up. It's not on the side where the paper folds, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. And I want to create some stripes that go from that stop line to the folded section. So I line my ruler up, and I'm going to go line it up, line, 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 all the way down. Okay, so this is my open section at the top with my stop line, and I've got these stripes that start at the fold. Using my scissors, I'm going to cut nice and smooth, make this as nice of a cut as you can, all the way up to the stop line. Don't stop early, go right till the stop line and stop. Okay? You want this to be a nice, smooth line. If you have a really rough line, it becomes very difficult to move your weavings around, and I can show you that. What I mean, though, is when you're cutting, always pull back as far as you can into the scissors before you push down on the scissors again. So open, pull back tight, close. Open, pull back tight, and close. And that will keep your paper pretty smooth. If you're kind of chopping at the paper really crazy, it will create a bit of a problem for you later. So I've got 2 more of these to cut. Make sure that I'm going all the way to that stop line. And almost done. Great. Now I can open up my little card, like a little book there. Made a little mistake earlier with my ruler, no big deal. I like to work this way, actually, with the fold poking up at me. It makes it a little bit easier for me. I don't think there's really a wrong way to do it. I think you could do it either way. Now we've created what's called a warp. So this is the warp part of our weaving. It really just means like the frame. It's kind of what you're weaving into. And now we're going to do the weaving. The things that you weave with are called the weft. W-E-F-T, weft. These are just weaving terms. You don't have to have them memorized, but it just helps us talk about our projects a little bit easier. So remember before I told you weaving is simply over, under, over, under. It's just a pattern. I'm going to go over the first part of my warp and under the next part. Over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way to the top. And then I'm just going to take my helper hand is on my warp, and then I'm going to slide my weft. This is the part that if you had a really jagged cut, right, all these little jaggies, it doesn't like to slide as smoothly. So we want to take our time with our cutting. I'm going to slide it down as far as it will go. Okay, and it should look like a dotted line. So it's on top, it's underneath, on top, underneath, on top, underneath, on top, underneath. Great. Time to move on to my next one. So I'm going to pick another color. Now my blue started on top of my warp. My next piece is going to start underneath. So it does the same thing. It's still going over, under, over, under, over, under, but it's actually opposite of the previous weft. So my blue is on top, my red's going to start under. Under, over, under, over, under, over. And I just kind of follow that all the way up. I like to work in the middle and then slide it over. Now if I'm doing it correctly, it should start to look like a checkerboard pattern where it kind of bounces. Okay. If I'm doing it incorrectly, I'm going to do the next one incorrectly. And let me show you what happens. My blue started on top, my red started underneath, my next one should start on top, right? Because it should do the opposite of the one before it. But let's make a mistake, because this is a very common mistake. And let's start underneath again, twice in a row. And let's see what happens. If I started underneath twice in a row, everything looks cool. And I go to slide it down, and I go, oh no, I didn't get that checkerboard pattern. Instead, I'm getting stripes, okay? And it doesn't actually work because this could slide right on top of and cover my red one. Oops. So if that happens to you, you know what? It's not a big deal. You pull it out and you say, I started underneath twice in a row. No big deal. I'll start on top this time. And go ahead and follow your pattern. You just started in a different place this time. And when you slide it over, boom, there's our checkerboard pattern, right? Looking good. If it looks like this, you're awesome. You are right on track. If it doesn't look like this and you're struggling, please don't feel bad. This is brand new to you, okay? And you only get good at stuff like this by doing it a lot and practicing a lot. I'm going to try and make some of the mistakes that I see friends make so that I can try and help you if it happens to you. So blue started on top. We started on top, on bottom. On top, my next one should start on bottom. Okay, underneath. Great, I'll do that. But what happens if I accidentally skip one? Well, that happens all the time to friends here in art class. They're not really paying attention to what they're doing. And they slide it down and they go, that doesn't look right. No, it doesn't really look right. I'm getting colors next to other colors. I'm skipping over lines, okay? No big deal, it happens. We just back it out and we fix the problem, okay? Hopefully I've gone over any problems that might come up for you. If this is hard for you, like I said, please don't get discouraged. keep practicing, keep working at it. You will get it. And once you get it, it's one of these things that just sort of clicks. Your brain clicks and you go, man, this is so easy. How did I ever struggle with this? And then you pretty much never struggle with it again. It's kind of like riding a bike, right? It's super, super hard the first few times you do it, but once you get it, man, you just get it. So that's going to be it for my instruction. I'm going to fast forward through this next section when I finish off my weaving, and we will show these. I'll show you what this looks like in just a moment. And here we have it, my friends. You'll notice there's a little bit of space here. I could almost fit another one. So if that happens to you and you can't quite fit one, what you can do is take one of these. You could fold it in half, or you could carefully cut just a thinner piece to weave with. Now, the reason you'd want to do this is if you can keep your weaving tight, tight, tight. Everything's pushed up against each other as far as it'll go. It'll last longer. It won't come undone on you. And you can see I'm starting at one end and I'm pushing everything over and I'm making as much room as possible. And before you know it, hey, look at that. I had some extra room in there. And I'm going to actually weave one more piece into the side just to keep it really tight. And hopefully this works for me. Looks like it will. Now, again, like I said, if this is, oh look, this one didn't go quite to the stop line, so I can fix that up with my scissors and hopefully push this through. If this was a little bit easier for you, you can challenge yourself. You can weave colors on top of other colors, which I can show you here in a second. You could add pipe cleaners in here, anything long and thin. So there you have it. I was able to fit one more little extra piece in there. So what I mean is I could take, thinner strips and go right on top of one of these colors and try and make it, look extra cool, right? Look at that. That's sort of neat looking. I could take markers or crayons and add little designs in here. Maybe you could do something with your weaving. Maybe you could take this and, wrap it up and make a paper lantern, right? Or a hat or something, right? You can do a lot of really cool things with these. Surprise me, right? If you're somebody who didn't struggle with the weaving and this comes very, very easily to you, show me something different, see what you can come up with these. Now, please feel free to restart these videos and see where it went wrong. Reach out to me if something's tricky. I know it's a little hard not to have me there with you guys when you're doing something new, but trust me when I tell you, you can do this. All right. If you need to pause these videos, if you need to rewind, if you need to start over, okay, don't get discouraged. I have faith in you guys. So next week, I'd love to see everything that you guys are coming up with, and we can share our weavings. And I hope to see you guys then. So keep up with it. Keep making art, and I'll see you guys in a week.